To militarize this civilian plane and turn it into the flying fortress that will become Air Force One, the team must carry out a risky procedure, cutting into the aircraft's body. It's to prepare for the installation of top-secret defense and communications systems, and National Geographic has been granted special access to document it. First, they map out where exactly to cut into the fuselage. And what's been keeping them up at night are the two massive new presidential entrances. Getting big cuts like these wrong and the damage to the plane could be very costly.
The first major activity as we begin the modification will be to cut two large sections out of the aircraft, both at the rear and at the front. These sections will be replaced with new sections containing both new doors and air stairs that allow entry of the president and passengers as well as exit.
As on the existing Air Force One, it's a security requirement that the president, guests, and crew be able to disembark, if necessary, using internal stairs. Even stripped of its engines and components, this behemoth aircraft still weighs a staggering 350,000 pounds. Any cuts into the fuselage could result in it bending, causing serious misalignment. To avoid this disaster, manufacturing manager Todd Carlson is working with a one-of-a-kind cradle to relieve the stress on the plane.
To prepare the next Air Force One for some of the major changes that are becoming, we want to make sure that we have the aircraft jacked and off the ground, as you can see with the wheels turning. And also we've got these yellow braces all along the belly of the aircraft from nose to tail, wing to wing. You want it to be almost in a zero gravity state as you're going through the build.
This custom-built cradle uses a sophisticated hydraulic system that renders even this Goliath plane effectively weightless. The smallest change in weight is counterbalanced through adjustments in each hydraulic piston.
We'll monitor our weights. As you can see, this one jumps a little bit as people are coming in and off the aircraft. We'll monitor those to make sure that we're staying within our range, and when we go to make our big cuts in the aircraft, that the aircraft is properly supported, it's not going to twist, it's not going to bend.
With all the groundwork in place, the team is on pins and needles as they get ready to make the first big cuts. Before installing the doors and the air stairs, technicians carry on with the military makeover, cutting 68 smaller holes to load in the advanced communications and air defense systems. Back on the current Air Force One,
Test 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1.
Communications Officer Kaz is looking forward to the upgrade.
So a lot of the times they'll come up with something new. You know, the president wants to use a tablet or something new that this airplane wasn't designed for 30 years ago, and they had no idea that that could be a possibility. So we're always constantly trying to think on the fly and come up with how we connect a brand new iPad to old wiring.
Though the details are highly classified, the planes will include the most sophisticated encryption for secure communication that directly connect to the White House at all times. And the president will be able to address the nation live.
So if it's a new airplane, we're actually going to move from 3 operators to 4, which will be nice. We'll have more people to be able to handle the phone calls and to talk with throughout the flight. So for the president, we make a lot of head of state calls, so to other presidents and national leaders throughout the world. That is probably one of the more high-stress moments of the job.
Just how important effective communication can be for the president on Air Force One became painfully clear one fateful day in 2001. During the 9/11 attacks, President George W. Bush was in Florida. His security team quickly rushed him to the safest place he could be, on board the flying fortress that is Air Force One.
There were rumors that the White House was going to be under attack, and it became quickly apparent that this was going to be the place from which the commander-in-chief was going to have to, one, figure out what had happened, two, are there any more attacks, and three, how to make sure that the country responds to the immediate crisis as best as a president can do.
But the communications networks were oversaturated, and President Bush was unable to address the nation.
One of the really interesting lessons from this whole experience was that Air Force One was not properly equipped to be able to deal with the crisis. There were phones, but I couldn't find people. There were meetings, but it was difficult to get in to the meetings. In other words, the equipment just wasn't as good as it could have been.
Although the communication system has since been improved, the next generation plane will take it to a whole new level.
Now, Air Force One is different than other 747s that are like private or built in a luxury manner because we have so much military equipment and other things on, equipment that I don't even talk about.
Exactly how the new Air Force One will defend itself remains a closely guarded secret. But experts believe it will use decoy burning flares to deflect heat-seeking missiles, and that the plane will use high-tech lasers not only to disable a guided missile's tracking system, but even to completely destroy missiles in flight.
So without saying too much, the president is always well defended. The safety and security of the president is always a consideration on this Air Force One and the next Air Force One.